Hey everybody,
Yeah, there
Daniel
you go,
Char
bro.
here. And I have the pleasure of interviewing Mike Ealy of Nassau Investments. He's the gentleman who went from bankruptcy to currently only owning 1,000 apartment units. He's also invested in car washes and hotel buildings. So just brought him on here so that we can have a casual conversation of his investment portfolios and his strategies in investing. So thank you so much, Mike, for taking the time.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, brother, man. Appreciate it, man. What's happening?
Oh, living the dream. It's cold out here in Toronto.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Did you get some skiing in or anything or
No,
what?
no, no. Everything's shut down.
What? Oh, man.
Everything is shut down. We're down to 5 people per household. Yeah. But
Whoa.
it's funny. They don't tell you what the space is. So you could have 5 people in a 300 square foot apartment or 5 people in a 5,000 square foot house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know y'all were cracked down like that,
Yeah.
man.
It's hard. But yeah, so I love to start off with your story. It's a very interesting one where you had some ups and downs in your investment uh, career. Most people do, but yours was very special and interesting, where you started it very young. You hit rock bottom, and now you went through success. So can you share a bit of that story with us?
Yeah, man. So, no, man, I started off what they call house hacking, man, before they coined the phrase house hacking, man. I just got me a simple two family and got it rented, and I didn't even know how to paint at the time. And I got me a roommate, and my mortgage payment was $700. I was renting the whole thing for 700, and I was living rent free. And I was like, man, this is it. And from there, I kept doing more deals with no money down, and ended up getting to about 20 doors, 2 full service car washes, and lost it all, man. Didn't have a plan, didn't have reserves, didn't put an escrow together, and it all fell apart, came crumbling down, and ended up moving back in with my mom and dad. Excuse me. And they painted my room pink and lavender on top of that. It was 30 years old, baby. 30 years old.
So
And
how
so,
old were you when you started? If that when you
yeah.
started
Oh,
hitting
yeah. So
back
they
to 30.
three years later. So I really kicked it off when about 26, 27.
Okay.
Bought my first two family, and
So it
three
started
years
with two
later,
family.
man, yeah, man,
Awesome.
it went backwards. But man, I don't regret any of it. I learned so much, and all the things I did then, and I utilize today when I'm buying apartments and hotels.
So
So
how
it
did
was
you
great.
utilize the no money down strategy at at that time, and how did you acquire the car washes?
So now when we say no money, it's not necessarily that it's no money, just not out of your pocket.
Mhm.
So it's really about the OPM strategies, other people's money, and then the other thing is, uh, we utilize other resources like credit cards or 401k or insurance policy. And so you asked me, how did I come up with money? Um, and it should be little to no money down. When I bought my first two family, they wanted 3 grand for a down payment.
Mhm.
I kind of had it, but not really, because I needed to fix the unit up. So I worked out a deal. Instead of paying them 3 grand at once, I gave them $1,000 per month for 3 months until I paid my down payment. So
So they
that's
transfer the title to you with the promise to pay the $1,000 a month.
yeah. Well, I did it on a land contract at the time.
Okay.
And so they recorded the land contract, and I gave them $1,000.
Mhm.
For my car wash, I ended up getting some investors that gave me, I think I needed 5 or 10 grand down,
Mhm.
and I raised that money up, and I bought the car washes. Um, and then one deal I did, I bought a condo. Uh, I had 30,000 in my life insurance policy. Uh, I used that to buy the condo. I bought it for $23,000. I used that money for my life insurance policy, and I bought that house. I didn't even have to buy. It's called, they call that, where I paid so much to pay my premium, and I paid interest back to myself. So it was great, man.
Awesome. Okay. So that's all rolling. So you're not using any of your money. You got these contracts. You got these properties. They're cash flowing. You got a car wash. What made it go sideways or downhill?
So you know when your mom, dad tells you should always save for a rainy day. Well, them rainy days came, man. I wish I could blame it on the 9/11, but 9/11 had nothing to do with me going broke. It may have slowed it down. I mean, so many things happened that year, literally. We had 9/11, we had race riots in Cincinnati, and business was just slow. And and most people don't understand it, but you know, April showers May flowers. Jesus Christ, it rained every freaking day in April. Every day. I swear I would drive to my car wash and it was literally, it would be sun shining. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. The sun is shining. But by the time I got to my apartment, well, to our car wash, I had a black cloud over it. It was just
Oh my
raining. It was
gosh.
just raining right over my car wash. And so I didn't have any reserves to make it through that, man. Like, so, I mean, but that was something I just got beat up on. Like, I had the 9/11, had the riots and the rain. Now, I overcame it, but, you know, now that I've done it, I wouldn't want to do that again. I never would own a car wash again. If I did, uh, if I had to go back to something, I had to do car wash, I will do details by appointment only, and I will have one of them automated car washes where they just put their money or their credit card in, and
Yeah.
we don't do anything. And that is the only way I would ever do a car wash again.
Yeah. The overhead's pretty high, right?
Well, it's not that, man. It's just there's so many ups and downs. You got to deal with overhead. People need to know what they're doing. You got to train them right.
Yeah.
You know, I just wasn't in place. And then literally, your car wash is based on the weather.
Yeah.
You know, if, you know, you got to adjust. You're adjusting every day.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great learning experience.
So how did you overcome that? I know that in your story you said that you told a friend or a client that you were going to go bankrupt. They told you not to, and then everything
Yeah.
started going sideways over there, or start picking up. Can you
Hmm.
share that story?
Yeah. So when I couldn't make the mortgage payment or pay the Duke and the gas and electric bill, um, you know, I had to start letting stuff go. That's when I started losing. I was paying robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know, I was taking from a multifamily houses, which were already on a tight budget anyway. And, you know, I'll take that rent to kind of keep me alive over here. And eventually I couldn't make payments anymore. And I almost went into bankruptcy. And fortunately, I never forget it. You know, I was praying that somebody come help me or an angel messenger tell me something. And never forget, the guy pulled up one day, old guy, and he was like, "Yeah," we just started talking. And I don't know what I just like, man, you know, life is good, but I think I'm gonna file bankruptcy. And he was just like, "Don't you file bankruptcy?" I was like, "What?" He was like, "Don't you file it?" And then I was like, "Can I take you to lunch?" He was like, "Yeah." And from this old man, I learned so much in that one conversation, man. And I'll never forget. I'll never knew what happened to him, but I picked up a book and I read, and he was just like, "Man, I filed bankruptcy. What you don't want to do is file bankruptcy because you over a period of time, you're not going to have access to loans. People want to see that you took care of the problem." Now, I'm not saying that some situations don't deserve to file a bankruptcy, but my partner filed bankruptcy, and we handled a lot of issues. One of the main reasons why we filed bankruptcy, we didn't have to worry about we needed to help dispute or slow down the process because we were trying to work out short sales or buy the mortgage notes or sell them off, and the banks weren't being cooperative. So we filed bankruptcy. Now, the thing was, years later, we wanted to start doing deals, had loans, and it was a challenge. Some lenders didn't want my partner to be on the debt, so I had to sign the debt, and he couldn't be on the deal. But just think about if you're just out there by yourself, you're forced to go find some partners. You're forced to outside. So um, even though it's a hindrance, it's not going to be the final setback.
Mhm.
Setbacks are just your setups for your comeback, right? So that's one of the reasons he said that. Like I got to witness, and at the time, really, when it's all said and done, I didn't really have nothing to file bankruptcy on because um, with me doing short sales or losing in foreclosures, as long as the people got the property back, they didn't slap another lien on you. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but for the
Mhm.
most part, that's what happened. And
So were the lenders with banks or were they private lenders?
all my private lenders, well, yeah, even when I lost short sales, I didn't have any private lenders at the time. Any of my private lenders I had already paid off or cashed out. But with my partner, he had some private lenders, and we did the notes. So bought the notes, or did a short sale with the bank, and bought the properties back, and was able to cash our investors out. That's one thing that I'm proud of. So we never lost any principal for our investors. That's because we took care of it. And the banks may took a hit, but our investors would not.
Can you tell me what was that process like? Because if you were short, how did you get back to evening out so that you can cash out all your investors? Usually, like when it's
Yeah, so
meeting,
yeah,
it's really
so
hard to fix.
now the odds of this happening again, I don't know because of the way the market is and because the market's on fire. But um, back then it was timing as well. So it was in the Great Recession, so a lot of people were getting foreclosed on. A lot of people were losing their houses. All right, and so I never forget one bank we went to. They wouldn't negotiate, and we knew if you filed bankruptcy, that shuts everybody off because we kept filing documents in court to slow the process down. And I can't tell you all that because we had some lawyers and legal team just filing things that it was we were being a thorn in people's sides, man, or I could say ass, but
Yeah.
and they're like, geez, man, he's driving like I'm never gonna get this foreclosed, and they just keep spending more money. So you gotta realize they paying these lawyers $300, $400, $500 an hour to finish it, and we drag it on for another 6 months to a year. And then we're like, all right, if you don't settle with it, we're gonna file bankruptcy. And then you got to deal with us even longer. And so what happens? They didn't want to negotiate, so we filed bankruptcy. And then they have no idea what the state they're gonna get it. So at that point, they were really, we beat them up till they're ready to negotiate. And so then we bought some of the mortgage notes back off the deal. So let's say at the time, because now you got to realize they've just not had this bad debt, non-performing debt on their books, but multiple others. Like banks were going out of business.
Yeah.
We were buying notes for 50 cents on the dollar or less. And so we was like, we'll take the note. And so by buying the note, it doesn't really go back like they have a bad asset on it. So yes, it counts against them. I don't know all the details, but it's kind of better they sell the note than actually doing a short sale foreclosure. So literally, we bought the note back. My partner still stayed in as owner. Then we had somebody else that owned the note, and then we assigned it over to the initial investor. And that's how they were able to maintain their interest in the property.
Wow. That's like very, very sophisticated. All the right things have to happen at the right time, right?
Yeah. Because excuse me, you can still buy a note, but now people ain't selling notes for those kind of discounts now.
Mhm.
Even in this COVID, I don't know if those discounts are going to be like that again.
Yeah.
Um, you may get a discount, but I'm thinking it may only be 80% or 90%. But if they base that on the unpaid balance, that could be good, right? Because if you did a loan and you only got 80% loan to value, right? And the value increased, let's say you did a deal where it was for 500 but down to 350, right? And the bank sells the note for the principal owed, which is like 300. Well, you bought his note for 300, but it's worth 500. Well, that might be a deal if you could get the guy to deed it over to you or to sell it right away.
Yeah. Yeah. With the appreciation of the value.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So you overcame that. How did you get to the 1,000 mark now? Because that's a big feat, right? Like you just went through this rough patch, you overcame it,
Yeah.
and
I don't know,
I'm
bro.
out.
Like
I fixed
I
the
wish
problem. I'm out. But you kept going in, right?
we just kept going at it, man. It's kind of like riding a bike. Like, I'm riding a bike, keep my head down, and then I take my hands off and then I look up like, look, mom, no hands. I'm like, no, man, we just kept fighting, man. Like I kept saying we'll be there, but I just couldn't believe it, man. We buy 100 units, because we were buying 30 units, 48 units. And then we was like, man, we need some help. And we was like, man, we partner with these guys. They got good structure. We didn't. And we learned a lot of structure with them. Like we could do the maintenance, we could find the deal, but an operating system to make it work where we were weak at. And we watched them. They were great operators, but couldn't find the deal and couldn't do maintenance. So that's where you
guys
get
had the
partner.
deal, but they had the operations, and that's how you guys
right.
partnered up.
Yep, they could set up an operation, but they couldn't really manage it with the maintenance. So we brought in the construction, the management, and the deal. And then iron sharpens iron. They saw us, we saw them, we learned how to do it, the right way to do it. And then next thing you know, we do another one. Then we do another one. And then you keep going, and then you keep it. Next thing you know, you do a deal, you buy 500 units, then you sell in 200 units. But we did that about 2011, and then every year we were buying, 100 to 200 units. The next thing you know, you look up, you're at 1,000, but then you sell it. And then here's the sweet thing: by the time that cycle comes in, you start selling and refinancing, and that's when the money starts popping in.
Yeah. So where's the location of all your properties, and what is the value that you bought them at?
So most of all of our stuff is in Cincinnati, except for our hotels. That's in Oklahoma, Columbus, Milwaukee. But the apartments, man, the ones we bought kind of like a 2011 to 2014, we bought all those for like 4,000 to 12,000, 14,000 a door. And wow. For some of you, like, what does that mean? Well, wow. Understand you put 10 a door in it, right? So let's say you bought it, you bought it for 10 a door, you put 10 a door, you're all in for 20. Well, properties at the time were selling at 29 to 34 a door. Now, understand when it got to 34, we was like, oh man, this is hot. And we was like, let it go. But man, if we would just sat and waited a little longer, we could have sold them for 50 a door, because now they're selling at 47 to 55 a door.
Yeah.
You could do the math on that, man.
So what's the cash flow that each door brings in a month?
Typically a month, we were, for a decent deal, you're looking at, if you do it right, you should net anywhere, and even including debt, you should net anywhere from $80 to $150 a unit, right? And that's the spread. Some people do it as low as $80. Mm-hmm. I myself like to find deals where we can push it way above 150 a unit, and I'm getting spoiled, and that's why I pass on a lot of deals. I mean, you gotta realize the last few deals I've done, I push rents $300 to $500 a unit. And some of you are like, what's so big? Well, just hear me out on this. So if let's say you had 100 unit and you push the rent by $50 a month per unit, that's $5,000 more per unit. All right. So 5 times 12, that's 60,000 more net cash flow, right? That you added value. Then you just divide that by a 7 cap, just by what the cash flow you brought in. That's over $850,000 in value just by pushing the rent $50. I'm now pushing rents $300-400.
Yeah,
So, that's what I'm kind of like, nah, man, just work smarter, not harder.
that's beautiful because your expenses stay the same, right? Like when you're pushing the
Yeah, now,
your
yep, yep.
expenses,
Well, now I will say, now even though your expenses, yes, will stay the same, but you're going to lose a little bit of that, but not at the same ratio. Like right now, your ratio could be a 50-50. 50 goes expenses, 50 go to the net, or 60-40. But once you increase the rent, at the most, you're only gonna lose 15% of that to whatever reason, whatever. You're gonna be able to net 85% of that increase. I
beautiful.
mean, it's amazing, man. So
That's
that's why I
beautiful.
like multifamily.
So let's talk about the hotel business right now. I know like we're in COVID. I guess residential is really hot right now. Everybody
On
needs a place
fire.
to, yeah, it's on fire. Everybody needs a place to live. Hotel, like, can you tell me what's your experience with that? Like in a portfolio, does one side go up and one side go down, or is this still flat? Reason why I want to ask you this is because I'm seeing that Cineplex stocks are screaming upwards, and same with Royal Caribbean and all these
Hmm.
all these tourist attractions that don't have any activity in business, but they're still going up.
Right, right, right. You still there with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I lost your
okay,
video for a
okay.
second,
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
but
Go
you
ahead.
see what I'm saying, right? Like these planes are stopped, cruises are not going, but when you look at their stocks, they're still flying up. So I just wanted to hear from you as a hotel investor, like what's it like, boots on the ground.
It's like hell, bro. It's like how the fuck I can't sleep. No, man, you're going through a rough storm, man. But we did a lot of things right, man. I bought below market value, um, so my overhead is much lower than the average. You know, just to give you an idea, occupancy's down. Some places more by 20% below 20% occupancy, and understand for a hotel to survive all in, that most of them got to be at 40 to 50%. If you're a brand new hotel, you probably got to be at 60%. And that's everything. But because you can work with banks and everything, you may be able to go in forbearance, and you'll be all right. But it's a challenge. But you gotta, I believe, everything I projected has been happening. We felt that the vaccine would be start to be ready or approved in October, November, and it was. We felt that the vaccine will be in mass production by March, April, and it looks like it is. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be out in December. It already got out. So I think, and then there's going to be so much pent up demand. People will be back traveling. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be traveling like it was 2019, but they will be traveling starting here in March and April.
Yeah.
And then the PPP's coming back out again, which definitely help us get over the hump. But look, man, that's just some locations, man. Some places, destination areas like in the woods and the mountains, or down in Florida, they may still hit their numbers. They probably hit their numbers for the year, because a lot of Airbnb and destination travel happen, man. So, but it is challenged. But with that, it's a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of hotels that are not coming back. They're going to go out of the comps. So you got to understand, let's say there's over 1,000 rooms, in the comp set, and then 200 go out. Well, guess what? Some people are going to go somewhere else, and they're going to go somewhere in that comp set. So, it's kind of the gift and the curse. You just don't want to be the one to go out of that comp set.
Yeah. So
But
why do
it's
you
going to be
think
a lot of opportunity to buy at discount. Now that will be going at discounts.
so why do you think residential real estate is so hot right now with the COVID and commercials down? Like there was a lot of prediction that with COVID everything was going to go down because people are going to be scared. right? Everybody's talking about the big crash. It's going to be worse than like 1920s. But the stock market is on fire. Real estate's on fire, residential real estate. What's your take on that? Is it people
Man.
pushing their money into one asset, or?
Well, a couple of things, man. You got a lot of people who are much more educated. You got people that saw what happened in the Great Recession. And so some of them see the opportunity to start buying houses or single families or multifamilies because they know it's much safer. People that typically would be in the stock market are only tech companies or business. They're not doing that anymore, or they're diversifying more. And then on top of it, the government has propped these businesses and these homes up. So, I mean, you got people that, it was people wasn't even going to work. You got to realize people were making 700 to 1,000 a week sitting at home. Like, why would I go back to work? like, I ain't going back to work. I'm gonna ride this out, baby.
Yeah.
Like, I'm making 700 to 1,000 a week. Man, shoot.
Yeah.
So that was one of the challenges, but it's just funny. But some of the reasons why, the interest rates are low. People can now afford something, right, of quality. And we were surprised, but if the government, I'm really confused, man. Everybody thought it was going to crash, but one thing's for sure, these hotels and retail are going to take a beating. Some of them ain't going to come back. And the way people shop now, their behaviors change. Like even in the hotel industry, you're going to lose 15% of the business travel. And that 15% is a big number for hotels because, Monday through Thursday in the hotel industry, those business travelers are what they call put the heads in the beds. And Thursday to Sunday is your transient traveler. So now how people buy hotels is going to be a little different. They're going to be looking at more the transit traveler than the business traveler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of business is virtual now. They had to pivot.
That's right. Like they're not going to, the business traveler is not going to, these companies, man, let's just say it, like, man, if you're the small guy on the totem pole, you ain't traveling.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, if we got $500,000 sale, man, you can do that on the phone. But if it's a $5 million, $20 million deal, hey, Billy, get out there.
Yeah.
Right. Get in the game, son. Travel over there. Go to California. I don't care where you take them to eat, dinner, party, whatever. But if you closing $100,000, we're gonna be on this Zoom call.
Yep, that's it. Cutting costs. So Mike,
we have drinks on the Zoom.
Yeah. So Mike, tell me, what would you recommend for new investors? Like a lot of investors, especially in the Toronto area, they've been investing in pre-construction condos, especially for the last 10 years. A lot of people were looking at profit, like capital gains. And now with this whole COVID thing, they're actually shifting their attention to, I need cash flowing properties. But not a lot of people know how to do this, especially going into multifamily apartment buildings. Most of our clients, or even friends in general, they bought their single family home, they rented out their basement, they probably bought a pre-construction condo. But if you're talking about buying an apartment building with 30 units or 50 units, they don't know where to start. So can you guide us on what's the first step someone should take if they want to go that direction?
Well, what is it? Is it the prices are high in Toronto?
Yeah, the prices are really high. Like in the heart of Toronto, before COVID, pre-construction condos, I'm talking about like maybe 850 square feet, would go for like close to $900,000.
Yeah. Okay. So you got the New York.
It's like a New York.
LA.
Yeah, it's a New York game.
Yeah. No, man. It really is not too much you can do about that unless you start thinking out of the box. Like you're not going to rent a regular unit to cover them costs, right?
The numbers don't work.
It just ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And so the only way you could do that is you start renting rooms out, right? What they call house, like a lot of people in California, in order to cash flow it. Even I know some people in New York do it. Like they rent the rooms out to med students or a group of people to cut costs, and they'll charge them $1,000 a room. Well, at that point, you probably could make it work, but you still need some rooms because you're saying, I mean, a new one costs what, 900 grand you selling, right?
Yeah, it's
So
900,000 for a 2 bedroom, and then
yeah, yeah,
if you want
exactly. So
parking,
you ain't
if you
yeah.
want
So
parking, it's 100 grand. and
so
plus, here's a catch: you can't just buy parking, even if you have the money. You have to qualify to get the parking. So if you got a 1+ den, you don't have a 2 bedroom, you don't even qualify. So you could have the 100 grand, but they won't give it to you. So that's how
yeah,
crazy
so
it got.
so what I'm doing, what I will do is two things. One, you ain't thinking about cash flowing in Toronto. Like that's just a wrap, right? Unless you find some small property that the family owned for years and they just sell it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you got to find the right deal. Other than that, what I would do is like I'm gonna be now if I'm in out there in Toronto, I'm gonna be a passive investor with somebody where I know I can gain 8 to 12% and I have ownership, which will increase my equity return as well. Or I do my own thing and I buy in other areas of Canada.
Yeah, that's what a
Right?
lot of people are doing. They're going to the outskirts right now. And the outskirts, they're only about like a 2-hour drive from the main core of Toronto. And for the same price, for let's say $900,000, you can buy 2 or 3 properties in the
There you
outskirts.
go.
And then they're single family homes. They will cash flow from day one. But it is a 2-hour drive out. But now people are starting to notice this. But they still have to buy 1, 2, or 3 properties like to scale, right? And
Yeah.
I know in the States, you guys are really known for apartment buildings. Like you guys are really known for multifamily investing.
Yeah, and we got the same issues. Like I mean, California, New York, some parts of Florida, Miami. But you be creative, man. But that's why a lot of people from California come by in the Midwest, right? So they can buy a cash flowing unit. And it's a challenge, right? I mean, it is what it is. You're in Toronto, baby. Uh, and so that's why we just do. Some people they come invest with us. So I mean, those are kind of your things. You either buy in different outside the city, and what a lot of people are starting to do now is, everybody used to want to buy in the Class A or Tier 1 city, right? And your Class A Tier 1 is, at least in the States, is New York, Florida, Atlanta, Miami, San Francisco, LA, right? Places like that. But now people are starting to go to the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, which is the subsets. Like instead of going to Cincinnati, Ohio, they go to Dayton, which is not, it ain't the main city in Ohio, but it's like the 3rd or 4th main city. And it kind of be the same in Canada. Instead of doing Toronto and I forgot all your other cities there, but just like the city's 2 hours away, and that's how that's the only way you do it. And those parts of the towns are going to start getting heavily populated. It's crazy, especially with COVID. And now we got technology. So many people were focused on moving into the city, living downtown in the city. But now with COVID, everybody's like, man, I ain't got to work here no more. Well, let me move out the city where I can buy some land and own some land.
Yeah.
And at least have a half an acre or an acre my kids can play. I don't have to be in this grimy, city. Not saying Toronto's grimy.
Just only some part.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you get it. Like I don't want to be inner city. You can move inland and things like that.
Yeah. So just a recap. So if you want to find something that's cash flowing, you might have to go outside of the city, maybe a couple hours away. You could find something that is a more affordable. It will cash flow from day one. And then if you don't know how to invest on your own, you should join someone who does know how to invest and partner up with them. Can
That's
you
right.
tell me about your investment strategy? Like, how does somebody partner up with you at NASA Investments, and what do you guys do for them?
Yeah, so most of them they become a part of our class, whether it's the mastermind or a master class, which we call big deal hacking, and they get some training. They join Apartment Investing Secrets. Some people just post a deal and be like, "Hey man, give me that. Let's go for it." Actually doing two deals like that right now, where a student posted a deal, or they weren't even a student; they were just part of the group, and we put it together now. So every deal is different. Sometimes we just like, hey man, tell me what you're trying to make, and if we could do it, we give it to you. Now it's like, hey man, I can't do that. I won't do the deal. I like the deal, but I can only pay this, or the deal's only paying this. I can only give you a certain percentage. So I mean, we work it out, man. We just wanted to be a win-win. And especially in a part of our community, we love for you everybody to excel.
Yeah. So it looks like networking has a lot to do with finding the right deals, finding the right partners. It's a key source to closing
Yeah.
deals, right?
Yeah, and one of the things is we don't partner with anybody, and then on top of, if we decide to do a deal, we have to be in complete control. So I mean, we don't mind paying nobody. Like I don't care. You just sit and do nothing. You take a check. I don't care, but we have to be in control, and that's it. Other than that, we won't do the deal.
Yeah. I hear you 100% on that, because when you got two ideas going sideways on different ends, oh my God. And
Yeah,
everybody
everybody.
says, well, I put money in there. Well, it's like, no, well, we did too, right?
Yeah,
But
that's why. I let them know right up front, like, hey, baby, I've run this show,
yeah,
and it ain't nothing personal. Like, hey, man, that's just like, look, if I never took care of a pig farm, I don't expect to run the show. I'm gonna sit back and I'll do whatever you tell me. But when
exactly.
we talking real estate, this is my show. And even in real estate, I'm about to do a development. Guess what? I know all about it. But guess what? I'm gonna sit back and let my partner kind of run the show. I do my part, and I'll let them do the rest.
Exactly. Let somebody else take care of it if they know how to do it.
Good.
Perfect.
No reason
Any
to
last
reinvent the
words
wheel.
for our viewers, Mike, before we head off?
No, man. Hey, man, check my book out, From Broke to Millions. Go to FromBrokeToMillions.com. Learn all the real estate secrets. After you read that book, that you don't have an excuse not to buy a multifamily or a single family. You can also find us at our Facebook group, Apartment Investing Secrets. It's our Facebook, Apartment Investing Secrets. Or just follow me on Instagram, Mike Ealy Nassau, at Mike Ealy Nassau. Uh, you know, everywhere, anywhere. LinkedIn, Mike Ealy, Mike Ealy, Mike Ealy, man. We love you, man. Appreciate you for having me on, Daniel, man. This has been
Absolutely.
great, man. I enjoyed you, brother.
Yeah, we're going to put Mike's information in the description below. So we're going to have all his tags, his website. So if you want to reach Mike, please take a look at the description. And thank you once again, Mike, for this awesome interview. Appreciate it.
All right, brother, man. Thanks a lot, man. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.